Good evening, everyone. So, your other Team 9 meteorologist, Nathan Judd, joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. And coming up, we're tracking rain and more rain Friday into Saturday before rain changes over to snow. And we'll likely see some snow showers for Sunday. So, a pretty active series of days here as we go through the weekend to break down on this edition of Nate at 8. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Let's jump into things. And starting off, of course, the big story precipitation the next 3 days. And we are watching some rain showers move in here for the first half of tonight. And we see some rain showers continue as we get into the latter part of tonight as well, before we see more widespread showers breaking out for Friday morning. Now, this initial round of rain, as you can see, will pass here early on tonight. Then there's that drier period that we're seeing set up, looking west of us towards Columbus, western Ohio, eastern Indiana, and then notice more showers looking into the western part, or especially southwestern part of Indiana, eastern part of Illinois. And that's what we'll see translate further in our area by tomorrow morning. But a lot of tonight will likely end up fairly dry, as you can see, between some rounds of showers. Now, this isn't the whole story. We're dealing with that rain over our area right now, but you may be noticing that despite radar picking up rain for your location, that it's staying dry. And you're wondering what's going on, right? Why is rain getting picked up on radar, but it's still dry? What's going on? Is radar glitching? Is it inaccurate? What's happening? Well, it's raining. Well, radar is accurate. It's picking up on rain. Rain is falling from the clouds, but what's happening is the rain is failing to reach the ground. So despite dealing with some rain, getting picked up into Guernsey County and across much of the area, notice still a dry side right now into Cambridge. So what's happening is what we call a process called virga. So typically, precipitation obviously falls from the clouds and reaches the ground, right? Rain reaches the ground as it falls from the cloud. But what happens is in an instance of virga, which is what we're seeing take place here early on tonight, is that the rain is still falling from the clouds. That's why radar is picking up on the rain. Is still falling. But as it falls and gets closer to the ground, it's running into a layer of dry air. And as it falls into this layer of dry air, rain will evaporate before it ever reaches the ground. So the rain is falling from the clouds, but it's not reaching us at the ground. This is what we call virga, and this layer of dry air that resides over us between, again, the ground and the clouds is what's eating up a lot of this precipitation here early on tonight. And this will be a factor for a good portion of the night, again, keeping us dry for the most part with this first round. And like I mentioned, that second round doesn't arrive until very late tonight, tomorrow morning. And it's that next round then that will likely be less affected by this dry air, because it's a process as this is occurring, as we're seeing that this rain is falling in this layer of dry air, it's evaporating. We are moistening that layer of dry air, right? So eventually this layer of dry air will moisten to the extent where it's not an issue, and plenty of moisture then resides from the clouds all the way to the ground, and virga will no longer be Virgo will no longer be ongoing, and we'll see that precipitation fall, the rain fall from the clouds all the way to the ground. But this is the process. Again, if you've ever noticed, just like what we're dealing with tonight, maybe you noticed it before, you're looking on your radar, on your phone, and you're seeing rain over your location, but it's still dry. Virga is likely the culprit there. And that's what we're seeing into play here early on tonight. Futurecast is doing a good job illustrating this round of rain here early on tonight, as we'll be passing here over the next few hours. Then as we get closer to and after midnight tonight, this is that drier period that I mentioned. And there's that following round of rain. Again, notice how it's very late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And this next batch here arriving into tomorrow morning's commute will likely not be affected by that dry air. So no issue there. This is when rain will break out across the area leading into tomorrow morning's commute. And then it is more of a washout as we go through Friday morning, as well as through midday on Friday. Now, the afternoon and evening is less of a washout, but we'll still deal with some showers going through Friday afternoon. By Friday evening, then, is when we'll likely dry up. So notice this last batch of showers here late afternoon on Friday. Then as the sun sets, notice again, we are drying up likely as the sun is setting. So at the tail end of your day tomorrow, we're likely drying back up, and we'll stay dry at this point likely for Friday night into Saturday morning. Now, by Saturday morning itself, we'll start to see that rain then develop as we go throughout Saturday morning. And while, a portion of what we do see, a portion of your Friday, again, is more likely a washout, especially that morning hours tomorrow, even around midday. There are still some dry times to be had, I think, for the daytime overall Friday, especially in the second half of tomorrow. Now, Saturday could be less of that. I think Saturday could be more of a steady rain, if for much, if not all of the daytime. So Saturday is likely a little more wet with respect to Friday. I do think we can have some pockets of heavier rain Friday with respect to Saturday. But nonetheless, I think the rain is a little more steady Saturday with respect to what we're dealing with Friday. But both days are certainly wet days as we do look ahead, and we'll deal with quite a bit of rain falling for both Saturday as well as Friday. By Saturday night, then, this more steady rain is tapering back to showers early on. We'll likely see showers then persist as we go through the remainder of the weekend. But at that point, our precipitation type is changing from rain to snow. So while the precipitation becomes more scattered in nature Saturday night, Sunday, our precipitation type is also then changing from rain to snow. And you can see that already occurring Saturday afternoon. If you look there in the upper left there at Toledo, right, it's already started to occur there into the latter part of Saturday, even looking further to our north west, right, towards Toledo. So that's just translating into our area by Saturday night, and some snow showers will likely then persist as we extend into Sunday. So getting to the rainfall before we touch on the snow. For the rainfall amounts, about a quarter to a half of an inch likely in rainfall amounts. Now, we can have some pockets of heavier rain, like I mentioned, especially in Friday, but possibly into Saturday as well. Those pockets of heavier rain can skew amounts higher on a local scale. Still not anticipating enough to where flooding is going to occur. We're not anticipating flooding with this Friday into Saturday, even though we could, again, deal with some locally higher amounts. It does not look excessive to the point where flooding is going to be a big concern. Severe weather, not a big concern either. Both risks look low, and this looks to be more of just a nuisance than anything impactful for Friday and Saturday. That being said, these pockets of heavier rain could produce some thunder. We can get some rare January thunder here over the next couple of days. Is something to watch for, especially I think into Friday with respect to Saturday. We could end up with some rumbles of thunder. Rare for us this time of the year, but again, while we could get that thunderstorm in the mix, not anticipating any severe thunderstorms during the time period. Now, one thing I think to watch for are the wind speeds. It could be quite gusty for tomorrow. The wind gusts will likely be within 30 to 40, but I do think there could be some locations that get between that 40 to 50 mile per hour range. So watch, they can get a little more excessive on Friday. It's going to be windy likely Friday as well as Sunday, likely within that 30 to 40 mile per hour range on Sunday. But I think potential there for some of us to exceed 40, maybe reach closer to 50 mile per hour, at least in some spots on Friday. We can get some of those gustier showers possibly in the mix for your Friday. But in general, look for some windy conditions Friday as well as Sunday, while Saturday, not as windy. Overall, lighter wind, just a slight breeze there at most on Saturday, while Friday and Sunday likely will produce more windy conditions for us here into the Ohio Valley. And as temperatures are dropping off, wind chill will be much more of a factor by Sunday with respect to the next couple of days, as we are going to be closer to record highs than that normal high this time of the year, which is at 37, and the record high Friday is in the upper 60s. So we're not anticipated to reach record highs for your Friday, but we're certainly much closer to record values than normal values. By Saturday, temperatures will start to cool some. It does get to a little more of a chilly rain on Saturday, and then by Sunday it turns cold, and with those highs in the lower 30s, likely hovering in the lower 30s from morning in the afternoon. Notice how much little warming there is from Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. And we're really just hovering in those low 30s range on Sunday. It'll feel like it's in the 20s, cold, blustery conditions Sunday, some snow showers in the mix. Much more of a wintry feel by Sunday with respect to the next couple of days, almost more spring-like for your Friday before we get more of a taste of, it's still January, right, by Sunday. Mother Nature reminds us it's still January by Sunday. Snow showers, I don't see much there when it comes to accumulations. We're looking at some very light accumulations. I would guess that likely more so in that range of just a trace to an inch is where a lot of us could end up. Some light amounts likely. I don't see much there. Maybe some higher elevations at most picking up 1 to 2, but some very light amounts on Sunday. I don't think it's going to be a major impact from those snow showers Sunday, but something more minor is possible. We do have to watch, temperatures are hovering around freezing, falling likely late afternoon, Sunday evening below freezing. So Sunday morning, later Sunday, we can see, especially anything that's not treated, at least some slick spots developing. At minimum, I'd watch for some slick spots on our roads on Sunday. Some of those roads in general could get slick at times. But temperatures, they're still, lower 30s. Salt's very effective with temperatures in, close to freezing. So a lot of these main roads that are treated could very well just be wet and unaffected at all throughout Sunday. But even those, watch temperatures will drop into the 20s Monday morning. It's just, more of using caution Sunday, as we could deal with at least some slick spots. But I think the potential is there for some slippery road conditions. But again, it's likely nothing major, widespread, halting impacts, right? Nothing major likely on Sunday. But, slick spots, maybe some slippery road conditions at times. Just something to monitor as we go through Sunday night. By Monday, late morning, afternoon, there's no issue there. Not only temperatures above freezing going into Monday afternoon, that will help improve road conditions, but we'll likely see some sun in the mix. And that's just a great combo. That while, some roads could still be a little slick Monday morning, by late morning, especially by Monday afternoon, I don't foresee any issue across our area because we've got the combo of temperatures above freezing and we've got sun. And that combo just quickly improves any slick roads Monday morning. And I don't foresee any issues there as we go throughout Monday. The only thing to watch for would be, maybe some refreezing Monday night, but we should be, for the most part, once we get past Monday morning, I should see very minimal in terms of road condition impacts once we get into the middle of next week. We'll be watching then around Wednesday of next week, for the middle of next week, for some more rain, snow showers returning. Temperatures look warm enough there that it's right on the line between some rain and snow. But, when we're dealing with temperatures that are just cold enough to see some snow in the mix, but still above freezing, that will cut back on any impacts there, cut back on potential accumulations when it comes to snow around the middle of next week. And the temperatures do look to drop back down late next week, likely get back mid to lower 30s. And we'll watch for some more snow showers that could be a little more impactful, I think. In terms of next Wednesday, I think what we have the potential for that following weekend, I know it's real early at this point, but if we're looking at a system that could bring more wintry impacts, it's likely less Wednesday and more so in that following weekend. If we get that system to come to fruition, with temperatures colder, some more snow in the mix, that could be a bit more impactful for wintry impacts. Again, it's way on the horizon, in terms of trying to, take a stab at wintry impacts, but it is something that's worth monitoring, and we'll keep an eye on into that following weekend, into next Saturday. But here near term, winter impacts, again, likely more minor Sunday than anything major. Accumulations look very light. Most of us would remain in just with trace or a coating up to an inch, likely is where a lot of us could end up. Maybe higher elevations exceeding an inch, but I don't see much there when it comes to accumulations on Sunday. Something we'll still monitor, again, at least some minor accumulation impacts potential there. Still want to use some caution on Sunday. The continuing into Sunday night. By Monday, then quick improvement in any wintry impacts. Again, flooding, severe weather risk are both low the next 2 days. We can get some rare January thunder, especially into Friday. We'll get some windy conditions Friday as well as Sunday. Wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour both days. But I think Friday we could see wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour, at least in spots. So it can be those winds a little more excessive Friday. But both Friday and Sunday are going to be likely a couple windy days. And of course, when temperatures are in the 30s, it's going to feel like it's into the 20s, right? It's going to be on the cold, blustery conditions on Sunday. Friday, those showers, again, a lot of it's concentrated in the morning and midday hours. By the afternoon to evening, we'll notice a drying trend. So the latter part of your Friday, especially Friday evening, closer to sunset, we should be drying up. So at the very tail end of your Friday, showers should be done, but it's more of a washout Friday morning, midday, and then some drier conditions follow afternoon. Still some showers around, but it should start to trend drier afternoon and then drying up completely by the evening. Dry Friday night, but Saturday, that steady rain develops Saturday morning, and then it's just steady, likely most, if not all, of the daytime Saturday. So Saturday can be more of a washout with respect to Friday, but both days certainly wet over the next couple of days. All right, let's get to those comments. Austin, good evening. This winter weather is definitely a crazy roller coaster ride of high and low temperatures with rain turning into snow. And roller coaster ride is a good way to put it, Austin, up and down and all around, right? That's been the pattern of the past couple of weeks, and it's the pattern this week into next week as well. Renee, good evening. Thank you all for tuning in as always. Appreciate it. Also says, were there two earthquakes, one in Japan, the other in the Philippines? I'd have to look at the hurricane, the earthquakes there. I'm not familiar with that. I have to look, Austin, for you. Unfortunately, I don't know off the top of my head to be able to answer for you. Drew, good evening. How are you doing? I'm doing well. I know it's been a while for me. Got locked out of my old account, but I'm back. Good to hear you back, Drew. Good to have you back. Not looking forward to the colder weather again. Yeah, for those folks that don't like the cold this next couple of days for you, right? Today as well was nice. Not only were we unseasonably warm today, but some sunshine was nice to see after a couple of dreary days. We're back to some pretty dreary conditions here as we go through the weekend, but at least we get some unseasonably warm temperatures still Friday into Saturday before it is back to some cold, right? That cold wintry blast by Sunday. But if you like the warmer weather, the next couple of days certainly still on our on your side there. And fortunately, it's wet and dreary, but at least it's going to be quite mild Friday. Warm, really, for this time of the year, Friday. And then by Saturday, still getting towards the chilly side, but still warm for this time of the year. And then by Sunday, it's cold again. That's for sure. Drew, I see we're in for another cold, rain, snowy week ahead. Yeah, rainy here over the next couple of days and some snow. Again, I don't see a lot of snow there Sunday. Some snow showers around, though, that could at least deliver some coatings for us. Again, we'll at least watch for some slick spots. It could be with more minor accumulation, minor impacts than anything real major, but still watch, especially some of our side roads during that period of Sunday morning, Sunday night, Sunday evening, especially. We can see some roads in our areas become slick. So you still want to use some caution later Saturday night. You want to use some caution, of course, Sunday morning, especially then Sunday evening, Sunday night. Just watch the second half of the weekend into Monday morning. Just use some caution. Be aware that, yes, roads could become slick for some areas. We can get some coatings even on our roads in some locations. There's just something to watch for the second half of the weekend. But again, I don't foresee anything real major in terms of accumulation or impacts. But yes, we could at least see some on Sunday. By Wednesday, they don't see much. But we'll watch that system further on the horizon, maybe some more impacts there for that following weekend. But way too early to make any kind of definitive call there in terms of wintry impacts later next week. But next week does look cooler with respect to this week. We'll deal with temperatures more seasonable to below normal. We'll likely see some days there ahead next week that are trending below normal and ultimately cooler with respect to what we are dealing with for this week. And again, watch Friday and Sunday for some windy conditions. Winds sustained 10, 20 miles per hour. Gust, I think, upwards of 30, 40. But I do think there's potential to exceed 40 mile per hour wind gusts especially for your day tomorrow. We could see some higher wind gusts than even 40. The potential, I think, is there. But gusty winds in general, Friday, Sunday, lighter winds on Saturday. A little bit of a breeze, but not as gusty early next week. But we still likely maintain at least a bit of a breeze Monday and into Tuesday as well. Temperatures then back above freezing. No wintry impact potential there Monday afternoon. Quick improvement of any slick roads Monday morning. Quick improvement going throughout the morning hours as we'll climb above freezing, mid-upper 30s, even Monday afternoon. Some sunshine breaking out. Quick improvement in any road conditions that become slick going throughout Sunday by Monday. And then no issue there. Tuesday either, of course, dry, highs even in the 40s, and then mid-upper mid 30s for that low. It will stay above freezing, but we can be just cold enough to still see some snow in the mix with that rain around the middle of next week. But that really cuts back as well on wintry impacts and potential snow accumulations in the middle of next week. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week so far. If you don't like the cold, hopefully you're able to enjoy today and enjoy the next couple of days. Try to stay dry the best you can. Of course, stay tuned for the latest. And Debbie says, "Hi, Nate. You have a cold. Why have a you have a cold? I do have a cold, Debbie, if that's what you're asking. Yes, I've had this all week long, unfortunately. Feeling a lot better, but as you might hear, still some lingering congestion, but feeling a lot better. Soundtrack, you might be getting a cold. See you on the 11. Take care. Stay safe. You as well, Drew. Shane, you might be getting a cold. Yeah, I've just all week long, unfortunately, but feeling a lot better. We're on the mend. We're getting better. Debbie, thank you for the kind words. Get well soon. Thank you very much. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9. News 9 tonight, 11 for the latest and for the next edition of Nate at 8. I'm not here tomorrow, but I'll be right back here coming up next week for that next edition of Nate at 8. Actually off Monday as well. So Tuesday Tuesday, mark the calendar, is that next edition of Nate at 8. So I'll have the latest Tuesday coming up on what to watch for with that rain, snow Wednesday, and maybe sneaking in some more snow and more wintry impacts in that following weekend. So make sure to stay tuned for the latest on that with that next edition of Nate at 8 next Tuesday. Until then, stay tuned with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Fexline, meteorologist and Bakiga for the latest coming up here as we go through the weekend on the rain and some snow, windy conditions, a lot to track. So make sure to stay tuned here over the next few days. Have a great night. I'll see all of you on the next edition of Nate at 8.